Welcome into the Farzy Show, everybody. My name's Mark Farzetta. The show is presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. I am going through a weird emotion, folks. I am, shockingly, if you would have told me the game played out the way it played out, and I wouldn't be mad, even with the call at the end of the game, and I don't even want to touch on that because I don't want to be like the 49ers fans and whine about it. Eagles defense needed to play better. Bottom line, Jonathan Gannon needed to adjust with Andy Reid. Bottom line, now I'm getting mad. But in all seriousness, I love this team. I love this Philadelphia Eagles team. And they gave us an incredible ride that made us feel like the biggest game of the season, the game that mattered more than anything, and it's going to sound obvious, but of all the games through this season, through the regular season, through the playoffs, I always expected the Eagles to win, and I expected the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, the biggest game, most important game you could play in their careers, and it made me feel like that game was for the whole season, and I'm not mad at this team. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm admitting this. I'm bearing my soul to you. For the first time since Joe Carter walked it off, I am sad. I was 10 when 11, when Joe Carter walked it off against the Phillies. I'm 40 now, and I'm looking back on it, and I'm like, I am a grown-ass man, and I'm like depressed about this team. I thought, when Jalen Hurts fumbled the football, when it was 14-7, and you had an opportunity in that game to go up maybe 21 with that drive and not go the other way, and then they ended up scoring on the next possession anyway. And I'm not a big believer in, you make up for it. You can't make up for it. I mean, only if you end up blowing the other team out, which, of course, this Eagles defense didn't really give this Eagles offense a shot at doing. But you can't make up for it. You can't give the Kansas City Chiefs and that offense 7 points. You can't spot them 7 points, especially when they are getting the ball after halftime in this scenario. And I was watching this all unfold, and when I saw that, I thought, all right, even though the Eagles went up 10 at half, it's not enough. It's not enough for Patrick Mahomes and this Kansas City Chiefs offense. It's not enough, as it turned out. God, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's true for Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy and the second half adjustments they were going to make. Did Andy Reid come out running the ball in the second half? I mean, I know he was kind of forced to with the way that Patrick Mahomes went into halftime, but he came out running the football, and they dominated this Eagles defense. Absolutely dominated them in the second half, scoring on every possession. Yeah, you're not going to win many games like that. I don't care if you're up 10, if you're up 20 at halftime. But on the way home from Atlantic City last night, where I was doing the pregame and halftime hit, and I was all ready to go to Broad Street, where there were still people, by the way, on Broad Street despite the loss. I was ready to go down there and do hits for the postgame show over there on Jacob Media and just party with everybody. And I really thought that was going to happen last night. And it didn't, as we all know. And I thought to myself, this team was incredible this season. I felt like that this team was on cruise control. And I felt like they were going to cruise right to a Super Bowl victory. I never thought it was going to be easy when the Chiefs started coming back in the second half. Even when they got that touchdown off the Jalen Hurts fumble, I was like, you know what? This is the way it's going to go. This just leads you to believe more so that it's going to be a tough game. But the Eagles seem to really be in control of this game. They get the opening kickoff after the Chiefs won the toss and deferred. Eagles go out there on the field. They march down the field for a nice long 10-play drive. What was I talking to you guys about on Friday? Nice, long, sustained drives. Somehow, miraculously, that drive was only, 6 minutes? 10 plays, 6 minutes? To give the ball right back to the Chiefs. Of course, the Chiefs march downfield. They get themselves a touchdown. I thought a big deciding factor in this game was going to be when Andy Reid decided to go for the field goal instead of going for it on fourth down. And Bucher comes out and doinks it off the post. And I'm like, oh, Andy, there's sheepish Andy. There's Andy, old school Andy. Don't go for it. Meanwhile, Nick Sirianni's like, go for it. Every single time. And I thought that was going to come back and bite Andy Reid in the ass, and it did not. Because he's got Patrick Mahomes. And as we have said throughout the last 2 weeks leading up to this game, the Eagles are the better team on paper. But that X factor is Patrick Mahomes. That's why when I talked about sheepish confidence from people I was talking to over the last 2 weeks about how do you feel about the Eagles? Good? Like that kind of thing? Like, oh, yeah, I expected to win, but yeah, I think it's going to be close. I don't know too many people, really any people, that were going in this game thinking it was going to be a blowout. I know overconfidence became something that was a constant narrative in this game, and I didn't really know anyone that was like, oh, Eagles 30, Chiefs 7. No, that's overconfidence. That's not respecting the opponent at all. And if you go down the list, I just want to get this out of the way one more time. I want to say this again before I let you hear from Nick Sirianni, from Jalen Hurts after the game. And then it was one of those moments where it was like, who's chopping onions? But watching this game last night, I don't want to talk about that James Bradbury penalty. I heard a good amount of people, read a good amount of people, Twitter, whatever it might be, screaming, yelling, Eagles got hosed, Eagles got ripped off, it cost them a Super Bowl. Let's not do that, please, because not only is it wrong, it's annoying. The fact that your defense went out there, played the way they did, the fact that special teams gave up the biggest punt return in NFL history, in Super Bowl history, and you want to talk about a BS holding call? That's the reason? That's the go-to? No, I think I'm going to blame this team. I think I'm going to blame the way they played in the second half, especially on the defensive side of the football, especially in special teams. That's what I'm going to be. And here I go. Now I'm getting mad. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm getting angry again. But that's what I'm going to focus on. I'm not going to blame the refs on this because it's their fault that the Eagles got their doors blown off in the second half. It's not their fault that Jonathan Gannon, the only play you really saw him bring the house or blitz his linebackers even, was that Kadarius Toney touchdown in the corner of the end, or excuse me, Sky Moore touchdown in the corner of the end zone, where they blitzed. It looked like they were in the same exact play for the previous touchdown, just on the other side of the football field. And Jonathan Gannon went, oh, here's where I'll be aggressive. Oh, show him. Touchdown. 2 linebackers, middle of the field. Wide open corner of the end zone, touchdown. Where was the Eagles' defensive line? That's another thing I was thinking about throughout this game. Yeah, I do tip my cap to the opponent that Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy got rid of the football quick. They did run the football. They did everything they were supposed to do to combat a good pass rush. But where was it exactly? If you look at the stats, just go by the numbers in this game, it's insane. If you just go by the numbers, this is why numbers never lie, but they do deceive, as I always tell you. Like Patrick Mahomes put up numbers that many people thought Jalen Hurts was going to play or put up. It's astonishing. Just looking over the box score, and then you think about how this game actually played out. It's nuts. And to see that Patrick Mahomes was not sacked in this game, to see that the best play made on him was still a gain for the Chiefs, and it was a play that Patrick Mahomes, I thought, was getting knocked out of the game right before halftime. That turned out not to be the case. Chiefs gave him a break at halftime, as you would expect, and then they came out and they ran the football, and they just ran right down the football field on the Eagles. Travis Kelce was every bit of Travis Kelce, which was a little bit of a surprise, particularly in this game, because the Eagles have done such a phenomenal job against tight ends this season. True, Travis Kelce is his own right. He's incredible. I thought Dallas Goedert had a great game on the Eagles side of the football, obviously, but they just allowed the Chiefs to do whatever they needed to do in that second half. And for me, I look at Jonathan Gannon. I look at the fact that he just flat out got out-coached in this game. There was a couple of different plays with Nick Sirianni. They should have burned a timeout and delay a game. They ended up not burning the timeout and delay a game. Jalen Hurts still bailed him out with a miraculous play a little bit later in that series. I thought that Andy Reid cost his team a timeout by challenging a play that is upstairs guys with Dallas Goedert's catch against his helmet. That is upstairs guys just didn't help him out on, despite the extra time to do it. I'm still confused as to how the hell they got that extra time to review that play. But they did because of an illegal substitution. But it came down to, I heard Derek Gunn say this on the post-game show on Jacob, chess and checkers. Andy Reid was playing chess in that second half. Jonathan Gannon was playing, I don't know if there's a intermediate or beginner level of checkers, lower form of checkers, I don't know. But that's what Jonathan Gannon was playing in that second half. And to think that's going to be the stadium that he's most likely going to be coaching in next season as a head coach, I don't know about that. It was so frustrating, and watching it with Seth Joyner last night, as you would expect, just just into the Eagles not being aggressive, into the Eagles not knowing how to defend Travis Kelce, into the Eagles not being able to get after Patrick Mahomes at all, especially in that second half. That second half will live on in infamy in the Super Bowl forever. It will live on forever. I look back, and I remember growing up hearing stories about the Fog Bowl and how incredible Randall Cunningham was, and it was so great and all that. And then the second half happened, and the fog rolled in, right? And the Eagles were a totally different football team in that second half, and how they had to invite the media guys from the press box down because you couldn't see anything in front of the press box window. And the Eagles were a totally different team in the second half, right? That's what this game felt like last night. And the only guy that I had confidence in doing his job well in that second half was Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts played exactly how we all expected him to play in that second half. Jalen Hurts played the way that when we were shooting down ideas of Micah Parsons about, is it Hurts or is it the system? Damn it, Hurts is the system. Hurts was the system. Obviously, your leading thrower last night had over 300 yards. Your leading rusher as well last night. And every single play, I looked at Jalen Hurts, and I was amazed by what he was doing. The first touchdown he had, second touchdown he had to A.J. Brown down the field. Throws in the double coverage. A.J. Brown makes the adjustment, brings it in. Still a great throw down the field. There are a couple other throws that he made that were risky, to say the absolute least. But did they end up negative? No, they did not end up negative. He ended up making a hell of a lot more plays than he needed to in this game, just from the quarterback standpoint to win. But when your defense can't stop anybody, when your special teams allow a huge punt return, a historic punt return, setting up another touchdown, there's not much you can do if you're the quarterback. Like I said earlier, I'm not one that believes in, he made up for it in terms of the rest of the game. When you talk about a fumble that's immediately returned for a touchdown. But he came damn close to making up for it. That's for sure. Here's what I'll take away from this game. I feel like this Eagles team, these players were ready to win. I know some people might look at it because it's a young quarterback, and a lot of guys, it was their first experience and all that stuff, and how great this team was. Not this year, next year, right? This team's not going to look very similar next year, but the quarterback will be there. I don't think Miles Sanders is going to be here, but I know the quarterback's going to be here. I think defensively, they are going to make sure they keep guys here in Philadelphia. I don't know offensive line-wise. It's always a question now with Jason Kelce. We don't know what's going to happen. Fletcher Cox probably won't be here next year. You could also look on the defensive side of the ball with Brandon Graham. What's going to be his status as the offseason goes on? There's a lot of changes that this Eagles team is going to make. But the one thing I'm confident in is that going into next year, because Jalen Hurts is your quarterback, you can have a lot of confidence in this Eagles team winning playoff games again next year. You can look at this team again because Jalen Hurts is their quarterback and feel confident this is going to be at least another double-digit win team. That he's going to have his receiving core. He's going to have Dallas Goedert. He's going to have A.J. Brown. He's going to have Devontae Smith. He's going to have all those guys right there. And then a 10th overall pick ends up joining this team. Not too shabby. And a 31st overall pick will join this team. 31st overall team will join this. Not too shabby. But there'll be other major changes made to this team. Do you bring back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson? I thought he was the only guy. You talk about only guy I had confidence in throughout the game, Jalen Hurts. Only guy I had confidence in throughout the game defensively, CeeDee Deuce. Because he was coming up and making plays. That one play on Pacheco that he made where he was running to the outside and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson came down, streaking down the right side of the field, left side of the field offensively, and made the play, made the hit. If he doesn't make that play, this game's over a lot sooner than what it was. But what I will take away from this game is that going into next year, yes, I'm disappointed. Yes, I'm flat out sad. I'll admit it once again. But what I'll take away is that going into next year, you got your quarterback. That's the very least you know. Now, those are the guys on the field. I felt like these guys on the field were ready to win. I don't feel like it was a lack of experience. Guys on the sidelines, I don't think so. Most notably, Jonathan Gannon. because I don't know how you have a second half where you have an offensive team that you still only gave the football to for 25 minutes throughout the game. I don't know how you have that kind of second half, even against Kansas City Chiefs. You see their adjustments. I didn't see any from the Eagles. I saw the haymakers more or less being thrown defensively in the early goings of the game. In the second half, you saw Andy Reid start to throw haymakers, and Jonathan Gannon never really responded. And when he did, I thought it was the wrong place, the wrong time. And from a player's perspective, Darius Slay, I don't know what happened in that first half where you were sprinting to the inside, lost track of your receiver, ended up being a touchdown on your man. Avonte Maddox, the very next time they were in the red zone, same exact thing. They run nearly the same exact play on the opposite side of the field, and they get the same kind of freedom in the end zone to waltz in for a touchdown. That's got to come down to coaching. Like, what did the Chiefs see from this defense that they knew they were going to be able to get away with that? Well, was there a switch that was supposed to be made? Were you just supposed to follow the man the entire time, not take your eyes off him? Because that seems like what you were supposed to do. And the Eagles just lost it. Jonathan Gannon didn't see it coming. Jonathan Gannon, when he saw things happening in front of him, didn't adjust in this game. It was, when we talk about Gannon's defense, the detractors, and you're all right when you talk about the detractors, but his whole defense is based on his defensive line winning their one-on-one battles and getting after the quarterback. And they were invisible in this game. Invisible. I thought this was going to be a great matchup for Hassan Reddick going against Andrew Wiley. Not the least. You barely saw Hassan Reddick. Maybe once or twice in this game, you saw him actually breathing down Patrick Mahomes' neck, but the ball was already out. The biggest disappointment in terms of people not winning their battles was the defensive line. And I had talked about going into the game, the 70-sack season, and how the best pass rush that the Chiefs faced this year was the Seattle Seahawks, who had 45 sacks, and the Eagles are coming in here with 70. Oh, yeah, go eat, boys. Go eat. And it wasn't the case. When you saw that you weren't winning those battles, that's when Jonathan Gannon needed to help out his defensive line. Shouldn't have blitzed on every play. It shouldn't have gotten absurd. But, man, everything that the Chiefs' offensive line seemed like they wanted to pick up, they could pick up. They were not confused. They were not out-schemed. They sure as hell weren't out-coached in this game. It really is amazing. That was the biggest thing I needed to see in this game for the Eagles to win, for their defensive line to dominate. They didn't do that. Bieniemy, Reid had a great game plan in that second half. Go out there, run the football, give Patrick Mahomes a break. When he needs to make throws downfield, he'll make the throws downfield. And they were awesome in the red zone, too. I give them a lot of credit for that. Sad, disappointed, and I'm really only angry at Jonathan Gannon. What about the refs? No, not going to do it. Not going to focus on the refs in the least bit in this game. Here's what I do know. The San Francisco 49ers would have been blown out in this Super Bowl. So after all their whining, they just would have got their ass kicked by the Chiefs. So I'll rest on that for a little bit. Before we hear from Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, let me tell you right now, my man Steven Singer, Valentine's Day. Tomorrow, guys, hit up Steven Singer yet? Gold Dip Roses. Did you check them out? IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. One place, one price, a perfect price online at IHateStevenSinger.com. What is the perfect price? I'll tell you what the perfect price is. The perfect price is what Steven Singer guarantees each and every customer. So that when you walk in to buy a beautiful diamond, you don't have to worry about haggling, negotiating, anything like that. All you have to worry about is buying that beautiful piece of jewelry, that dazzling diamond you want for that special someone in your life. Diamond engagement rings, diamond stud earrings, diamond necklaces, all at Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, perfect price. All not at IHateStevenSinger.com. Without further ado, let me jump on our Rothman locker room report here. And here's Nick Sirianni talking about his team and what he had to say to the team after the game.
Going into the San Francisco game, we talked a lot about, that we knew we were physically tough, and I just wanted to remind them how mentally tough they were. So going into that game, we talked about some failures that we had in our lives that we've overcome to get into the position that we were in last week and obviously into this position that we're in this week. So I just reminded them of that all the things that we've went through in our lives that, was something that was adversity that we'll overcome this too, because the type of guys that we have in there, that we'll use this to motivate us. We'll use this pain, we'll use this failure to motivate us so we can make it a strength.
I hope they do. I hope that's exactly what they do. Jalen Hurts walking through the confetti on his way off the field last night. You could tell everything was hitting him kind of in that moment, and he was, in a way, soaking it in, it felt like. After the game, I'll let you hear from him in just a second what he had to say. But I'll say this, man. We all know how it started here with Nick Sirianni in his introductory press conference. The Eagles put together a hype video. I don't know if you guys saw this. Not the one that was, who was it voiced over by? Bradley Cooper or something? I don't know. But they put together a hype video about Nick Sirianni, basically. And they used his introductory press conference. And man, yeah, it still is awkward 2 years later. It's very awkward. But they go to Dan Patrick. And Dan Patrick calls him Sirianni or Soriano, I think. So Nick Sirianni, this guy, it's talking about Stephen A. Smith. I was praying for Nick Sirianni because, oh man, you're going to need it in Philadelphia. And this was right before the Eagles were playing in the Super Bowl. Like they're releasing this on the Eagles website. And it started, I was watching something and it just like clicked into it. And I was like, what the hell is it? Oh my God. They're actually going back to the introductory press conference? Like they are? That's amazing. And then I think about watching him yesterday crying during the national anthem. And I'm just like, hell yeah. And for the first time, I probably in my mind was able to put myself in that locker room as a player and thinking, this is the guy I'm playing for. This is the guy. Like it used to be, this is the guy I'm playing for. And now this is the guy I'm playing for. Seeing him cry during the national anthem, I thought was amazing. I thought it was beautiful. And I was thinking, I love emotional people. I love people that you can just kind of tell how they're feeling. And Nick Sirianni is definitely that. The expression is heart on their sleeves, and Sirianni is that. And if you're a player, you want a coach like that. I know everyone can talk about it. I want a steady guy that's never this or that. No, I want honesty all the time. And that's Nick Sirianni. He wants to be emotional. Damn it, he's going to be emotional. I will say it did remind me of a great Saturday Night Live sketch. If you remember Ray Lewis crying during the 2012 Super Bowl, Ravens 49ers, Ray Lewis was out there crying during the national anthem, and then they go to Saturday Night Live, and what's his name? Kenan Thompson is doing a Ray Lewis impression on Weekend Update. And they're like, why were you crying? He's like, I know. I've just never heard that song before. And that reminded me of that with Nick Sirianni crying yesterday. But you could tell this, the emotion. And Tim Rinaldi does a phenomenal job. He's such a great reporter. He's such a great addition to the Fox coverage. Just talked about how Nick Sirianni would listen to the Whitney Houston version, the best I think our national anthem has ever sounded, the Whitney Houston anthem. He listens to that on the regular, and he was standing out there on the football field, and he was getting emotional during he was crying during the national anthem last night. It was incredible, absolutely incredible. So yes, hopefully they use it as motivation. If there's anyone to tap into that motivation, it's Nick Sirianni. Finally, let's get to Jalen Hurts. I love the guy. You gotta, you lose or you learn. Or excuse me, you win or you learn. The guy's got all sorts of motivational quotes, I'll tell you that much. And I do think this guy's going to win at least one Super Bowl in his career. 24 years old, so you just got to keep telling yourself. But Hurts was basically just asked about the loss after the game, and here he is.
It's tough. It's tough. We worked really hard to have this opportunity and to come up short. It's tough. I think there's always a lot to learn from, and we get the opportunity to reflect on some of the things we didn't do, could have done, but I think there's a lot to learn from it.
You got to think that you take experiences like this, the Super Bowl, and now you know what to expect. 2 weeks between the games, right? You get that bye week in between the NFC Championship game and obviously the Super Bowl. You have the practices, you have the media sessions, you have more media sessions, and then you have media sessions. And you got the travel, obviously, which isn't anything far off from what they do throughout the week, throughout the season, excuse me. But then you get into the game and all the pomp and pageantry and all that stuff that goes on throughout the game itself, the long layoff at halftime, whatever it might be. These are all things that now you know what to expect for next time. You know what to expect, but you really don't until you go through it. Now he's gone through it. And this is a guy that got benched at a championship game in college. We all know the story there. Well, now this is a guy that played his ass off. Made one huge mistake in the game, but played his ass off. Was the reason the Eagles were in this game. I can only imagine I was going to use this as motivation. A Super Bowl loss. If you think about how much it was motivating to him to continue his career somewhere else after getting benched in a championship, in the national championship game in college, I can only imagine how much he's going to take in as motivation for him losing a Super Bowl. I'm very much looking forward to watching Jalen Hurts play again next year because I'm looking forward to not going through an offseason of, is he the guy? I don't know if he's the guy. He could be. I don't know. I look forward to actually seeing him come out and doing his thing. He talked more about, he was asked about his fumble, as you would expect. Here's Jalen Hurts on that.
You know, I always hold myself to a very high standard. Hold myself to a very high standard in everything that I do. And I think, obviously, I try and control the things that I can. And, you know, I touch the ball every play, so I obviously want to protect it. But, it hurt us. It hurt us. You know, you never know what play it will be, but it hurt us. You know, you look back and you want to reflect on the things. Maybe you could have done something more. Maybe you could have tried and done something, to change the outcome of the game, and you know that's the way it was.
I think the appropriate word I feel like is melancholy. And it seemed like Jalen Hurts was melancholy after that particular play. So that's something that is unfortunate. Little Toots is here. Hello again, sweetheart. Hi. Mommy didn't let you stay up and watch the game last night, did she? We still got to soundproof. Daddy's got to build a studio and soundproof it. So I don't wake you up, right? That's what I thought. So that's where we're at right now, unfortunately. A melancholy status. And I do give Jalen Hurts credit. After he threw the touchdown to A.J. Brown, second touchdown of the game, 14-7, early in the second quarter, Nick Bolton had the scoop and score. And the thing that was so frustrating about that, it was purely Jalen Hurts' fault. Like, nobody knocked it out of his hands. He was trying to tuck the football, couldn't tuck the football, and just it slipped right through his hands, unfortunately. And then, you know, it's 14-14. They go right down the field on the next possession, 12-play, 75-yard drive, 7-minute touchdown drive. That's exactly what you wanted to see. They get the field goal right before the half. You're up 10. You're feeling great. And then it was all Chiefs. It was all Chiefs after that. The next Eagle score wasn't until Jake Elliott field goal with 1:45 left in the third quarter. And then it was pretty much all Chiefs in that fourth quarter after that. Let's get to the chat check, ladies and gentlemen. See how you beautiful people are doing on this fine morning after such a tough Eagles loss. Let's see here. Kevin, good morning, Kevin. Dan, congrats to the 2023 Super Bowl champs, the NFL referees. They work so hard to earn it. Now, when you say that, it makes me go back to the Steelers and Seahawks Super Bowl. And it wasn't like that. It wasn't that bad. The refs, I thought, were fine in this game. Did I think the James Bradbury holding call, the defensive holding call, needed to be called? No, I didn't think it needed to be called. I'll just tell you that. But it's not why they lost the game. It is not why they lost the game. They lost the game because they couldn't stop anybody in the second half. Did it help? No, obviously not. But I'm not going to blame officials for this game. Worst penalty call in NFL history? Daniel. By the way, I like how you guys could just see Lil Toots' haircut. Oh, there she is. There's her face. All right. Remember, sweetheart, those cough drops have been in that desk drawer for a while. Clay, good morning, everyone. I did my part and didn't watch. Unfortunately, it didn't have the desired effect. Clay, sorry, but thank you for taking one for the team. Dan Schwartz, I'm whining. Chiefs deserve to win, but can't not mention that. Dan, that's perfect. That's the perfect way to put that. No. The Chiefs deserve to win. We don't. But still, that call was BS. That's great. Clay, you really are. PJ's putting it out as well. Clay, you really are taking one for the team, man. God bless you. Marquise Graham. Gannon got to go ASAP. I would concur. Gannon got to go. Dan Schwartz, I'm jealous of Clay this week. Yes, sweetheart.
What time I poopy in my auntie's?
Okay.
And it's a poopy in my auntie's.
Oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart. Right now?
No.
Okay, well, that's good. You know who else pooped in their undies? The Eagles defense.
Oh.
Yeah, last night. So you're not alone, okay? That's a Philly thing. This is not scripted. Chiefs defense played more like veterans than the Eagles defense. That's absolutely sure. April, good morning, fam. 25 days till pitchers and catchers. Is it that much, PJ? 25 days till pitchers and catchers? I thought it was like next week. Holy Stromboli. Dan's still on the penalty. I never freaked out more in my life when they called that penalty. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Literally lost my mind. I'm here. I hear you, brother. Rev up for Gannon Cannon. I can't tell you how upset I am. Seriously devastated. Sweetheart, we can't touch that, okay? Daddy needs that. That's the keyboard. Daddy needs that. I hope Arizona hires Gannon Marquise. I think everyone in the Delaware Valley hopes that right now. Stephen Joseph, we were prepared to make adjustments in the second half. We had 2 weeks to get it right. We didn't. This is why experience matters. Hey, look, you're absolutely right. In this case, experience mattered. It didn't matter in 2017. Sure as hell mattered in the second half of last night's game. Sean Gillespie can't make adjustments. Marquise Graham. Quez Watkins. Why was I forgot Quez Watkins and Zach Pascal were on the team. Why did I see so much of them last night? Well, this place is Quez Watkins. Who? This place is Zach Pascal. What? Marquise Graham, Gainwell better than Sanders, greater than Sanders. Yeah, I think you're going to be seeing a lot of Kenny Gainwell next year, and you're not going to be seeing any of Miles Sanders in an Eagles uniform. Oh, here we go. Blue City Empire Sports. I told Eagles fans never underestimate Patrick Mahomes, and look what happened. Don't be shocked if the Eagles 2022 becoming the Eagles 2004. Yeah, I don't think anybody overlooked Patrick Mahomes. That is why people were, as I'll put it again, sheepishly confident that the Eagles would win this game. Sheepishly confident because they knew Patrick Mahomes was on the other side of the football field. And there he was with one ankle beating the crap out of your defense as the game went on. April, Gannon did not adjust at all. So frustrating. Where was the pressure? There was one pressure that jumped out to me, and the Chiefs scored a touchdown on it. Thought it was a little too late. Too late from Jonathan Gannon on that touchdown. I want an aggressive defensive coordinator. So tired of this bend but don't break, non-adjusting. Like the bend but don't break, I hear what you're saying, but if you're going to bend but don't break, how about a little pressure every once in a while? How about if you see the fact that your front 4 or 5 are not getting home, maybe 6. Maybe 6. Oh, you can't do that against Patrick Mahomes. It's picking you apart. Well, you got to let him think that it's coming once in a while. Yeah, Marquise, Jalen Hurts going to get paid. I see what you're saying there. What is happening? Dan, the Eagles could have used some aliens last night. I'll just say that. Wow, Eagles were better keeping Jim Schwartz and letting him coach a talented defensive line like this. Yes, sweetheart. I am going to go up and I'm going to put Sky Happy on the television for you.
Mommy said no to eat.
Mommy said don't?
No.
Well, yeah, Dad's in charge.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to school till 2 hours later today. You know that? Because the Eagles played in the Super Bowl last night. So you get a 2-hour delay. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. Better off keeping Jim Schwartz. Absolutely. Clay. All I know is that LJ better be on the operating table before the weekend to get this abdomen. Oh, yeah, Lane Johnson. Yeah. I'm curious if Hurts will get his shoulder scoped. I am curious to see the news that comes out. Thank you, sweetheart. I'm curious to see the news that comes out on Jalen Hurts as well with that shoulder. Mihai, what's up, Mihai? I don't care about penalties. This sucks worse than losing to Dallas. Well, yeah, it's the Super Bowl. I don't I don't care to watch the regular season, next season, Super Bowl or bust. Yeah, I'm very interested to see how this offseason plays out. It's very simple because there's so many guys. There's like 12 guys, 12 important pieces the Eagles need to attempt to bring back. Farzy and Farzetti, who's in charge? Low Tuts is in charge. The loss to Dallas was with the backup quarterback, so mildly disappointing. Yeah, I hear that. And now I wish Hurts would have been named MVP. Mark, you were right the whole time. MVP does mean something. Wah, wah. I agree. Sean Gillespie. Sean Gillespie's saying hi, little Toots. He's saying hi to you. You want to say hi? That's nice, sweetheart. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. This is the moment last night. I got home, flipped on Twitter right before I went to sleep, and I saw this, and I thought to myself, who's chopping onions? Beautiful. Jason Kelce hugging his mom after the Super Bowl. He did find his brother on the field after the game. They did embrace. Beautiful moment. And I saw that. And Mama Bear did not want to let Jason Kelce go.
Wait.
She did not want to let him go. Yes.
I had a deal.
What's that?
I had a deal.
They had a deal?
No, I had a deal.
Oh, okay.
I had a deal.
Okay, sweetheart.
And I had a raccoon.
You had a raccoon?
No.
Okay. Beautiful moment on the field between mother and son last night. The other thing, you saw all the confetti on the field just there. For the people on the podcast, a lot of confetti on the field last night. Perhaps the field would have been better to play on with all that confetti. I don't know if it was just the grass. I don't know if it was the halftime show or anything like that. Whatever it was not good. It was really, really, really bad. Both teams had to play on that. Hassan Reddick came out after the game and talked about how terrible it was, didn't make an excuse, said both teams got to play on it. Nick Sirianni, when he was asked about it after the game, said the same thing. Both teams had to play on it. It was horrible. Literally, Jake Elliott could not kick off without slipping and falling to the ground. And I don't know if it was part of the reason that Bucher missed the field goal earlier in the game or whatever, but man, that was terrible. And the people that are all out, get rid of turf, it's all grass all the time. The people that talk about it like that yesterday was not a big win for you, unfortunately, because the grass looked terrible. I'm getting my lighting adjusted. Yes, sweetheart. What? Oh, you made a rainbow with my light?
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. What's mommy doing?
Mommy's sleeping.
Yeah. So yeah, the field was awful. Just absolutely atrocious, terrible last night. Absolutely terrible throughout this game. Mommy's in bed?
Oh, and Leo.
And Leo's in bed too, yeah.
And be quiet.
So it was pretty terrible during last night's game. Look, I don't know where the Eagles go from here other than the idea of making sure they ink up their quarterback and you have a quarterback. The thing is, you didn't have to lose the Super Bowl to know that you had a quarterback. I know.
It's a laugh.
What's that?
It is a laugh.
All right. I like that you pick your spots. You come on during big shows. There's a big Sixers loss you came in here for. Super Bowl week, obviously, you came in here for. And now after the Super Bowl victory or loss, geez, now I'm twisted. After the Super Bowl loss, you also come down. You really know how to get your spots. I don't know. I don't think the Eagles needed to lose the Super Bowl for me to know that Jalen Hurts is the guy. You could pretty much tell that in the very early goings of this season. But here's what I do know. you have a very talented defensive line as it stands right now. And I think you're going to be bringing back a lot of guys on this defense. CD Deuce in the secondary, most notably. James Bradbury, I think, ends up coming back. And by the way, for those that didn't see it, he did say it was a holding call. He did say he held. He was hoping the ref wouldn't call it. The ref called it. But I hope James Bradbury is back next year. There's a lot of work. And when it comes to re-signing your quarterback to a $45 to $50 million deal per season, then it's going to be tough to bring everybody you want back, as we all know. That's why I don't think Miles Sanders is back. That's why I don't think Fletcher Cox is back. That's why I think you're going to be cutting some corners here in Philadelphia, unfortunately. But at least we do know going into next year, you're going to have Jalen Hurts. You're not going to have Shane Steichen. He's getting the Colts job. And then it looks like Jonathan Gannon has coached his last game as a defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. So at least rest assured in all that. Rest assured, and Lil Toots hit a button. Sweetheart, can we not touch the wires? Please? You see that wire you're touching? That's a very important wire. Please don't touch that wire. She's touching the wire. She continues to touch the wire. Still touching the wire. Now she's in the middle of wires. All are safe wires, by the way. They're not like exposed. Like the Eagles were in the second half. Huh? Anyway. Jalen Hurts your starter. That's the saving grace, at least for now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This has been the Farzy Show. April, birth control for PJ. Oh, that's hilarious. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are the best, as per usual. And I'll say this. The Phillies played in the World Series and lost. The Eagles played in the Super Bowl and lost. And it all happened with the same adjoining seasons, which is, as someone, as I mentioned many times, 27 years old, I didn't experience a championship in this city. I didn't see anything in this city. No championships, no parades, nothing. And then the Phillies won in 2008. And then the Eagles won 10 years later. And then Phillies and Eagles went back to their championships. That is absolutely insane. Last night, the cards didn't fall in the Eagles' favor. But I feel like with this quarterback, this head coach, I feel like they're going to be back on this stage. So I look forward to that. Do you look forward to the Eagles winning a Super Bowl? Yeah? All right, awesome. Thanks, everybody. Hey, bonus me today. I'll be on with Chris DeGaulle at 7:05 on 990 The Answer. And then I'll be on Fox 29 at 7:45 today with my friend Eitan Shander and Alex and Mike as well. Thanks, everybody. You guys are great, as per usual. This is the Farzy Show, presented by my man Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. PJ produced the program, did a wonderful job. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. Thanks, everybody. Sorry the Birds lost. I'll remain in my melancholy state. But you're helping me get out of it, sweetheart. Say bye, little toots. One of those, say bye-bye. Say, for the people on the podcast, say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There you go. She's actually up for the defensive coordinator job next year for the Eagles. So there you go. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Talk to you tomorrow. See ya.